great. I think the cool thing about that is just you felt the energy in the room, the amount of women sitting in there and so passionate about being a leader in their space, whether it was sport, whether it's business, whatever it is. I think that was what's so cool about it. And obviously getting to sit next to Annika on stage is pretty special for myself. So
the WNBA kept reminding Caitlin Clark to concentrate only on basketball and know her place, almost as if she should simply be thankful for being part of it all. But then, out of nowhere, she grabbed a golf club, and suddenly the spotlight found her again. No fancy marketing, no league-driven hype. She just stepped onto the green, took a smooth swing, and instantly captured everyone's attention. Fans leaned over the ropes, and even players paused mid-warm-up to watch. It was clear who everyone came to see. And you can bet somewhere inside the WNBA offices, Cathy Engelbert was watching that moment thinking, perfect, now she's stealing the spotlight in another sport too. Because here's the uncomfortable truth most people in the league avoid saying out loud, Caitlin Clark isn't famous because of the WNBA is relevant because of Caitlin Clark. And when that same attention follows her onto a golf course, that's when the real panic begins. As she approached the tee box at the LPGA Pro-Am, the entire mood shifted. People expected a casual, friendly swing, a quick laugh, a clap, and move on. But her body language told a different story. The way she adjusted her feet, the calm precision in her posture, it showed purpose. She wasn't there for fun, she was there to perform. And the moment her club struck the ball, the sharp, perfect crack of contact cut through the air, and every head turned. The ball didn't just soar, it glided through the air with precision, steady and sure. Every eye followed its path, and within seconds, conversation stopped. Professionals froze mid-motion, fans leaned in, and a quiet wave of surprise spread through the crowd. That shared expression said it all, wait, she's not just here for photos. From that moment, everything shifted. Caitlin wasn't acting like a celebrity guest, she was playing like an athlete who could dominate in any arena she stepped into. Her presence didn't simply attract attention, it demanded it. Not because of ads, not because of some PR campaign, but because she herself was the story. And when an athlete proves her spotlight follows her anywhere, that's more than talent, that's power. The LPGA noticed instantly, which is exactly why they treated her with a respect and understanding the WNBA still hasn't figured out. The LPGA didn't hold back or move cautiously. They didn't try to juggle attention or worry about anyone feeling outshined. The moment they saw Caitlin Clark, they recognized pure value. So what did they do? They paired her with Nelly Korda, the #1 golfer in the world. That move wasn't luck, it was strategy. They intentionally placed Caitlin beside the very face of their sport, not out of fear of her spotlight, but in full embrace of it. And the result? Spectators didn't just watch from a distance, they lined the fairways. Fans stood shoulder to shoulder, buzzing with energy and anticipation. There was an electricity in the air, the thrill of witnessing something genuine, not scripted or staged. It felt raw, real, and spontaneous. And that right there, that's the crucial difference. The LPGA never tried to tone her down or remind her to stay in line. They didn't attempt to divide the spotlight or make things appear balanced. Instead, they said, we've got a superstar, let's make the most of it. In contrast, the WNBA treated her fame like a situation that needed control, not a chance to expand their reach. The LPGA didn't just give Caitlin Clark respect, they celebrated her. They put her front and center, knowing her presence lifted everyone around her. They embraced the wave instead of resisting it. Because when someone has the power to raise your entire sport, you don't dim their light, you rise alongside it. So, why didn't the WNBA follow that lead? That question takes us to the part Cathy Engelbert would rather avoid. Caitlin Clark didn't just join the league quietly, she entered with the kind of buzz the WNBA hadn't experienced in years. She delivered record-breaking ratings, sold-out arenas, and merchandise that disappeared faster than it could be restocked. Venues that had never seen full stands suddenly looked like playoff nights. Caitlyn didn't just join the WNBA, she ignited it. But instead of riding that wave, the league acted as if nothing had changed. From her very first game, veteran players didn't just test her, they targeted her. It wasn't normal competitiveness, it was personal. Elbows, shoves, late bumps, full court pressure, and through it all, the league said nothing. No fines, no official statements, no acknowledgement that their biggest star deserved protection. At the same time, media voices surrounding the league began pushing a strange narrative, that Caitlyn's fame was inflated, that she wasn't all that special, and that her growing fan base was just made up of casuals chasing a trend. Every arena Caitlyn stepped into turned into a sellout, tickets vanished the moment her name appeared. This wasn't just poor management, it was outright denial. The league had a cultural phenomenon in its hands but treated it like an inconvenient scheduling issue. And through it all, Caitlyn never lashed out or complained, she just kept playing her game, quietly letting her performance speak louder than words. But the world was paying attention. Fans saw it. Sponsors saw it. Even executives began to realize what was happening. So when Caitlyn crossed over into golf and the LPGA welcomed her with open arms, saying, "We're thrilled to have you," the difference was deafening. That exact contrast sent Cathy Engelbert into quiet panic mode. While Caitlyn was lighting up the golf course, Cathy was likely miles away, refreshing analytics, checking projections, and sending late-night emails with subject lines like, "Urgent, discuss public optics." Because the moment LPGA viewership spiked, attendance rose, and clips started going viral, not because of golf, but because Caitlyn Clark was there, the realization hit hard. Caitlyn's star power was never owned by the WNBA. It belonged to the people who chose to follow her everywhere she went. And that's the ultimate nightmare for any commissioner, when the audience suddenly realizes they don't need your league to watch the athlete they adore. Sponsors began raising uncomfortable questions. Can we feature Caitlyn without going through the WNBA? Can we build cross-sport campaigns? Should we move some of our budget toward golf? That's when the real panic button got pressed. Because the WNBA hasn't merely benefited from Caitlyn Clark's fame, they've relied on it. Her success became their lifeline, their main source of spotlight. And when a league depends on a single star it can't fully control, that's not just risky, that's a commissioner's worst possible scenario. All of a sudden, Cathy's whole, balance the spotlight, strategy began to look less like smart leadership and more like plain fear, fear of what happens when the league's biggest moneymaker no longer needs the league to shine. Meanwhile, in the world of golf, Caitlyn was being treated like she truly belonged, and that difference carried real weight. Out on that course, she wasn't a target, a controversy, or a rookie told to earn her place. She was simply an athlete among athletes. Nelly Korda didn't view Caitlyn as competition for attention, she saw her as a collaborator in creating something special. Players shared laughs with her, swapped tips, and respected her presence, not because of her fame, but because she fit right in. They opened their space to her completely, no envy, no judging glances, no prove yourself tension. Respect came naturally. And it showed in Caitlyn's demeanor, her shoulders relaxed, her expressions calm, her posture effortless. For the first time, she looked like she could simply breathe. Contrast that with the WNBA, where every game felt like a gauntlet. Hard fouls, dismissive commentary, and constant attempts to downplay her influence created pressure at every turn. On the golf course, she didn't have to fight for recognition. She didn't have to defend her place. She didn't have to shrink herself to make anyone else comfortable. She was finally free to shine on her own terms. And when an athlete experiences genuine respect, understanding, and welcome, it leaves a lasting impression. Just as things seemed like they couldn't get any bigger, someone arrived who changed the entire narrative. Then came an invitation, not from just anyone, but from Michael Jordan. Not only the greatest basketball player of all time, but the ultimate example of turning athletic greatness into lasting influence. Jordan invited Caitlyn to Grove 23, his private course, a space where champions, investors, team owners, and key decision-makers converge. If the LPGA event was a spotlight, Grove 23 was the boardroom. Invitations there aren't about popularity, they're about significance. Jordan recognized what the WNBA refused to see: Caitlin Clark isn't just a high-scoring guard, she's a cultural powerhouse. And he didn't merely play a round of golf with her, he shared insights on longevity, brand strategy, and how to take control of her own image rather than letting others define it. Somewhere, Cathy Engelbert was likely muttering in a meeting, realizing, she's slipping away. Because when Michael Jordan validates your trajectory, staying small isn't an option. And Jordan wasn't the only one paying attention, business leaders noticed as well. Caitlin's crossover impact sent a clear, unmistakable signal that corporate sponsors immediately understood. This isn't a star crafted by the league, it's a star shaped by the fans. And that distinction changes the entire game. When a league manufactures fame, it controls the narrative and the value. But when the public elevates someone, the league can only scramble to keep up. Nike, golf marketers, and event organizers saw Caitlin's impact at the Pro-Am and immediately started planning cross-sport opportunities. Not Caitlin Clark, WNBA guard, but Caitlin Clark, global sports figure. That's positioning on the level of Serena, Tiger, or Naomi Osaka. And the WNBA didn't build that, Caitlin did. Which means her influence travels wherever she goes. This is when sponsors begin asking the tough question: what if she spends more time in golf? The answer is clear: the audience follows her, not the league, not the TV deals. And that reality changes how one rivalry looks entirely. While Caitlin expanded her universe and forged relationships with legends, Angel Reese was reacting in real time. No press conferences or microphones were necessary, you could see it in the timing, the tone, the subtle attempts to insert herself into moments that weren't hers. Caitlin moved forward, Angel was chasing shadows. That's the crucial difference. Caitlin builds quietly, steadily, letting her actions speak. Angel reacts loudly, trying to carve out her own space. Caitlin uplifts every environment she enters, Angel measures why she isn't the center of attention. One moves forward, expanding influence. The other clings, struggling to keep up. Make no mistake, Angel Reese is talented, fierce, and marketable. That's undeniable. But there's a key distinction between being popular and being irresistible. Caitlin is irresistible. Not because of media buzz or crafted narratives, but because audiences respond to her instinctively. No prompting, no persuasion needed. Angel seeks respect, Caitlin naturally draws it. That's why one gets an invitation to Grove 23, while the other spends energy reacting from the sidelines. And that brings us to the unavoidable truth Cathy Engelbert must now face, whether she admits it or not. In sports, there are stars, there are icons, and then there are drivers. Drivers don't just play in a league, they make the league revolve around them. Caitlin Clark isn't just a star, she's a driver. The WNBA's attendance spikes. Caitlin. Record-breaking TV ratings. Caitlin. Cities selling out for the first time. Caitlin. Merchandise flying off shelves. Caitlin. The wave of new fans. Caitlin. She didn't rise because of the WNBA rose because she showed up. And that's exactly the scenario Cathy Engelbert wanted to avoid. When a single player becomes the engine, the league depends on them far more than they depend on the league. Now everyone sees it, fans, sponsors, executives, and Caitlin herself knows it. She doesn't need to leave the WNBA to demonstrate her influence. Just stepping into another sport, and the spotlight follows. So the real question is, what comes next for Caitlin Clark? Her return to golf this year isn't a hobby or side project. It's deliberate positioning, for brand growth, ownership-level influence, and a multi-sport legacy that only a handful of athletes ever achieve. The critical piece, though, is reconnecting directly with the fans who've supported her journey from Iowa all the way to the pros. Not through flashy marketing or scripted speeches, but through genuine presence, her smile, her joy, her warmth, and that signature thank you she gives to every kid waiting behind the ropes. Caitlyn's influence isn't just athletic, it's personal. People don't just watch her play, they feel connected, included, part of something bigger. That's why she will outlast hype cycles, media storms, league politics, and petty rivalries. As long as she continues showing up for her fans, they will follow her anywhere, on the golf course, on the basketball court, at appearances, wherever she chooses to go. The WNBA now faces a simple choice: evolve with her or risk being left behind. Because Caitlin Clark isn't staying in anyone's lane. If you're inspired by how Caitlin is changing the game, hit like, share this story, and subscribe to follow her journey across sports and beyond.